By order of Caesar, all visitors must disarm and relinquish all banned items. This order also extends to the platinum chip you carry. For now. Alcohol and all chems, including stims and other addictive items. Caesar strictly forbids the use of chems and alcohol. By his order, all visitors must also relinquish their arms upon entry. If you come in peace, then there is no reason to not disarm. You will not be harmed unless Caesar wills it. Your belongings will be returned to you when you leave.
Up. Wait a second. What's going on? Am I playing Virgil to your Dante? I'd like to assume that we're tiptoeing into the mouth of hell out of academic curiosity, but I'm not so open-minded that I've lost my brains.
Very optimistic of you. You'll make a good follower someday, assuming Caesar doesn't have us both crucified.
Caesar awaits you in his tent. You have license to find your own way. I'll wait here to ferry you back to the western shore when your visit has concluded.
Slaves aren't much of a challenge in the arena.
So you're the visitor I've heard some of the legionaries talking about. If you're in the mood to trade, just say the word. Shoot. No, sir. I'm an independent trader from Arizona. Not at all. They're my best customers. As long as you don't try to sell them chems or alcohol, they treat you fair. Hell, I don't even need to travel with guards most of the time in Legion territory. All the bandits are dead or run off. Between having to hire protection and getting slapped with taxes, it's more profitable to stick to Arizona and New Mexico. But I do cross the river from time to time when an opportunity comes along. All right. I haven't had the pleasure. I have crossed paths with Legate Lanius, his second in command, however. It was unpleasant. He's the best the Legion has to offer, or so the legionaries say. Brute of a man, wears a fancy metal mask in a battle. He killed one of my pack Brahmins simply because it was in his way. I knew better than to complain about it, though. Have a look. Another satisfied customer. Be seeing you around.
slave
Don't bother
girls
me.
are quite
I'm training to
beautiful.
become a full legionary.
I can't wait until they let me fight.
Hey,
Hello.
I'm harsh on the children, but they'll be excellent legionaries. I'm quite proud of them.
the camps are getting crowded.
You must enter Caesar's tent alone. Anyone else must remain outside.
Okay. Just don't be gone long. I sunburn easily.
Some of the slaves have been spreading stories about the burned man again.
So, I finally get to meet the courier who's caused so much trouble for the new California Republic. You spread word of the massacre of Nipton, just like Wolpez asked you. Beams of light shot down from the sky over Helios 1, killing who knows how many profligate troops. In Boulder City, you let the renegade Khans go free, but left NCR troopers gurgling on the ground, drowning in their own blood. I get it. We share a common enemy. And now you come before the mighty Caesar to what? Offer your services? And you fell for that? Really? Because I'm going to have you killed now. Relax. I'm fucking with you. You do know why I wanted to meet you, right? A man nearly kills you, so you track him across the breadth of the Mojave. You arrive on the strip and waltz into the Lucky 38 like someone left you a key under the doormat. You assassinate the head of the chairman in his own casino and get away with it? When you set your mind to something, you get results. I like that. The question is, are you ready to get started? I like the servile attitude. Keep it up. The time is fast approaching when my legion will assault the Great Dam and invade the West. Before that happens, I want Mr. House knocked out of the game. A quick 1-2 punch, with you doing the punching. I have eyes and ears everywhere. It behooves me not to invade the West blind and deaf. It hasn't been hard to track your progress. It's not as though you've been keeping a low profile. Down the hill, at the west edge of camp, is an old building. It was here when the fort was taken in 2277. Inside the building is a hatch. And inside that hatch are 2 steel doors that bear the sigil of the Lucky 38 Casino. Now that same sigil is on the platinum chip you were carrying. Isn't that interesting? Even more interesting, there's a slot about the same size as the chip on the console that opens the hatch. So you know what I think? I think the platinum chip opens those doors. Doors that can't be pried open, or drilled open, or blasted open. Because all that I tried. I don't know, and I don't like not knowing. I know Mr. House built it. I'm thinking it's probably some kind of weapon that he can't activate from a distance. Yes, but then I'd have to kill them. You don't get it, do you? The weapons I wield are forged from blood, flesh, sinew, bone. Mortal stuff. Fragile, even. And yet my legion obeys me even unto death. Why? Because they live to serve the greater good, and they know of no alternatives. House's machines, his technologies. What do they propose? The possibility of victory without sacrifice. No blood spilled, just rivets. That's not an idea to be put in circulation. If mankind's going to survive this moment in history, it needs warriors, not gadgets. I want you to destroy whatever you find in there. And then I want you to come back here and tell me about it. So go to the building and take this fucking platinum chip with you. My legionaries will meet you there, with your weapons and equipment. Goodbye.
What a load of Brahmin shit! Can you believe that guy? A fair point. But from the perspective of someone west of the Colorado, the man is clearly out of his mind. Maybe he didn't intend for things to wind up this way. But that doesn't mean he needs to perpetuate this bizarre anachronistic myth. And it doesn't mean that we should sit by and nod our heads at every absurd faux Roman casus belli he can dream up. He's a tyrant, the bad kind, and there's no way we're letting him take Hoover Dam.
The new slave girls are quite beautiful.
Caesar has permitted your weapons to be returned to you while you serve him. Caesar has put a lot of trust in you. Be worth it.
Well, you're here ahead of schedule. I suppose it's just as well. This is where I wanted you to end up after all. I knew I could rely on Caesar to give you back the platinum chip. It is obvious to you that I built this place. The platinum chip opened it, after all. In any case, you're here, so let's get to it. It's a facility I built many years before you were born. You might think of it as a kind of barracks. You'll understand soon enough. That you were searched very thoroughly when you arrived at the fort is a certainty. And as the chip is a little too large to be secreted away, I also regard it a certainty that the chip was discovered, taken from you, and given to Caesar, who returned it to you. 2 plus 2 equaling 4, Caesar wants you to destroy whatever you find in this bunker. But that's not going to happen, because you're going to work for me. That's rather obvious, isn't it? The Platinum chip is a data storage device. I need you to manually upload the data from the chip to the facility's primary computer. There's a terminal at the other end of this facility. There's a complication. While I can broadcast to this screen, I can't control any of the facility's systems. That means I can't deactivate its security bots, most of which appear to be active according to the status board I'm looking at. My army will do what an army does best: defend territory from invaders and maintain order. The same equipment failure that prevents me from remotely operating this facility seems to have activated its security robots and turrets. There's a security room near the base of the stairs. Perhaps you can deactivate them yourself. Good. I won't hold you up any longer.
Hostile target identified. Hostile in area.
slightest idea of what you've done? Of what you've destroyed? You've doomed Vegas to be ruled by corrupt bureaucrats or fanatical savages. Single-handedly, you brought mankind's best hopes of forward progress crashing down. No punishment would be too severe.
You've carried out Caesar's will, but I must confiscate your equipment again. You're free to leave.
Some of the slaves have been spreading stories about the burned man.
I felt the ground shake a while ago. I'll take that as a sign you've got the job done. Let's press on, shall we? As I was telling you before, I want Mr. House out of the picture. You have an interest in his death, too. If he knows that you destroyed his gadgets beneath the fort, he will strike back. You know where to find him. How he dies, I leave up to you. What did you want to know? Ironically, I was born a profligate myself, a citizen of the NCR. My family lived not far from the Great Boneyard. After raiders killed my father, my mother sought the followers' protection. I was 2 years old. She found work at their library, cooking and cleaning. I learned how to read, and soon I was taking courses, free of charge. Oh yes, raised in that tradition. And the teaching stuck. I was taught it was my responsibility to bring the torch of knowledge to the waste. I may have taken the torch part more literally than they intended. When I was 20, the followers sent me east to Grand Canyon. It was my first expedition. Just me and a physician named Calhoun. As an anthropologist and linguist, my assignment was to learn the dialects of the Grand Canyon tribes. What a fucking waste of time. If you think it's worthwhile to make smart people learn how to talk like backward savages, you're a follower of the apocalypse, or an idiot. Anyway, we met up with a Mormon missionary who already knew a bunch of dialects, Joshua Graham. He was supposed to teach me, but before that went too far, the Blackfoot tribe captured us to hold us for ransom. They were a backward bunch, but the real problem was they didn't know how to fight. The Blackfoot were at war with 7 other tribes, each just as pissant as they were. But outnumbered like that, they weren't going to last long. It's one thing to be taken hostage, another to be lashed to a sinking ship. So over Calhoun's objections, I decided to take certain steps. I taught them how to use the guns they already had, how to strip and clean them, how to breathe when pulling a trigger, how to reload ammunition. They looked at me like I was some kind of a sorcerer. So I taught them how to make explosives and started drilling them on small unit tactics. If there's anything I learned as a follower of the apocalypse, it's that there's a lot of good information in old books. Divide et impera, divide and conquer. I led the Blackfoot against the Ridgers, their weakest enemy. When they refused to surrender, I ordered every man, woman, and child killed. When next we surrounded the Kaibabs, and they likewise refused, I took one of their envoys to the Ridgers village and showed him the corpse piles. This was new for the tribes, you see. They played at war, raiding each other, a little rape and pillage here, a little ransoming there. I showed them total warfare. Like I said, there's a lot you can learn from old books. Kaibabs joined me, and the Fredonians after that. All the pissant tribes with names that should be forgotten. I knew from the start I'd need to eradicate this plague of tribal identities, replacing them with a monolithic culture, a uniform identity. So that's what I did once my confederation of tribes was large enough. I crowned myself Caesar and created a single great tribe, my legion. I sent Calhoun, the follower captured with me, back west with a message that I should not be interfered with. Joshua Graham, the Mormon interpreter, stayed with me and served as my first legatus. That's right. Decades of warfare, absorbing lesser tribes, gathering power, forging the dross into a vast, razor-sharp scythe. My legion's expansion has never ceased. Much of the Utah and Colorado and all of Arizona and New Mexico are mine. We have cities of our own, but nothing compared to Vegas. Finally, my legion will have its Rome. What else did you want to know? I used Imperial Rome as the model for my legion precisely because it was so foreign, so alien. I'd seen what had become of the NCR's attempts to emulate the culture of pre-war America, the infighting, the corruption. Rome was a highly militarized autocracy that effectively integrated the foreign cultures it conquered. It dedicated its citizens to something higher than themselves, to the idea of Rome itself. In Rome, I found a template for a society equal to the challenges of the post-apocalyptic world, a society that could and would survive, a society that could prevent mankind from fracturing and destroying itself in this new world by establishing a new Pax Romana. It means a nationalist, imperialist, totalitarian, homogenous culture that obliterates the identity of every group it conquers. Long-term stability at all costs. The individual has no value beyond his utility to the state, whether as an instrument of war or production. No, I'll destroy it because it's inevitable that it be destroyed. It's Hegelian dialectics, not personal animosity. How do I put this basically enough? It's a philosophical theory, the kind you might encounter if you took time to read some books. The fundamental premise is to envision history as a sequence of dialectical conflicts. Each dialectic begins with a proposition, a thesis, which inherently contains or creates its opposite, an antithesis. Thesis and antithesis. The conflict is inevitable, but the resolution of the conflict yields something new, a synthesis, eliminating the flaws in each, leaving behind common elements and ideas. The bombs wiped the slate clean. Human civilization descended to a level of ignorance that effectively set our cultural progress back to zero. The NCR has all the problems of the ancient Roman Republic: extreme bureaucracy, corruption, extensive senatorial infighting. Just as with the ancient Republic, it is natural that a military force should conquer and transform the NCR into a military dictatorship. Thesis and antithesis. The Colorado River is my Rubicon. The NCR Council will be eradicated, but the new synthesis will change the Legion as well, from a basically nomadic army to a standing military force that protects its citizens and the power of its dictator. What else did you want to know? Do you want my opinion as a former citizen or future conqueror? Actually, my opinion's the same either way. As a young man, I was taught to venerate President Tandy of Shady Sands, the founding mother of the new California Republic. Did you know her presidency lasted 52 years? And that her father, Aradesh, was the Republic's first president? Does that sound like a democracy to you? Or a hereditary dictatorship? Because the council didn't dare oppose her. She was too popular. She had the people's love. So things ran smoothly, more or less. And as soon as she was gone, as soon as there really could be democracy, what happened then? Ever since losing its queen, the NCR has been weaker, more diffuse. Democracy has been its weakness, not its strength. Greed runs rampant. The government is corrupt, accepting bribes from Brahmin barons and landowners to the detriment of citizens. The NCR is a loose conglomerate of individuals looking out for themselves. It's lost virtue. No one cares about the collective, the greater good. It's not built to last. I'm just hastening the inevitable. Of course, the most powerful my legion has faced. Also the first to which I am ideologically opposed. Until now, every tribe I've conquered has been so backwards and stunted, enslavement has been a gift bestowed upon them. My conquest of the Mojave will be a glorious triumph, marking the transition of the Legion from a basically nomadic tribe to a genuine empire. Just as my namesake campaigned in Gaul before he crossed the Rubicon, so have I campaigned and will cross the Colorado. It's not going to happen again. That's all I have to say about it. Linnaeus is the greatest of my battlefield commanders. Some might call him a great man, but I'm not sure he qualifies. Once, he was the greatest warrior of the Hydebarks, a tribe of the Arizona. Maniacal in battle. Sometimes he'd ambush Legion patrols by himself. When after several months we found and surrounded the Hydebarks camp, their chieftain raised a banner of surrender. The warrior, who was not yet Linnaeus, went insane with rage. He struck down his chieftain and attacked his own tribe. He killed 15 before they brought him down. He didn't die, obviously. I had him tended to. He was maimed, most of his face torn off. It was days before he regained consciousness. When he did, I went to his bedside and showed him the helmet I'd had forged to cover his face. I said he could have it if he'd fight for me. He accepted, on condition that he be allowed to kill the surviving males of his tribe. I said, make it the adult males, and you have a deal. Linnaeus is savage. Savagely loyal, too, but only to me. He has no love for my legion. But this has its uses. He has no attachment to his men, no compunction about battlefield losses. All he cares about is destroying the enemy. When another legatus or a centurion fails to achieve results, I send Linnaeus to make things right. His first step is to beat the failed commander to death in front of his assembled troops. Then he orders the ritual of decimatio. It means decimation, but in ancient Rome the word had a very specific meaning, a punishment for cowardice. The legionaries are lined up in ranks. Every 10th man steps forward and is beaten to death by his brothers. It instills a certain robust obedience. Yes, this time my legionaries will be more frightened of the commander behind them than the enemy before them. There will be no failure this time, no retreat, no years of gathering slaves and resources for another assault. With Linnaeus to drive the Legion forward, the dam will be taken. It will be our bridgehead across the Colorado. What else did you want to know? Vulpes is the best of my Frumentari, a remarkable individual from an unremarkable tribe south of the Utah. He was brought into the Legion as a boy, survived training, fought well enough as a legionary to be promoted to the rank of Decanus. Then in battle against an unimportant tribe, he broke ranks and led his contubernium through a hole in their defenses to capture its chieftain. Well, his Kenturian wanted him crucified for disobedience, so I made him a Frumentari. Whatever I require, infiltration, assassination, dramatic atrocities to break the spirit of the enemy, etc. They're mentally flexible. They operate behind enemy lines for extended periods, imitating the enemy's customs without becoming sullied. In all these things, Vulpes is a master. What else did you want to know? My Praetorians embody the martial ideals of my legion. Each one of them has done enough conquering and killing to deserve the rank of Kenturian. Instead, I invited them to join my guard. So the invitee chooses whichever current guard he thinks is weakest and challenges him. The fight is to the death. It keeps them from getting complacent. Lucius has been the head of my guard for 5 years now. He was a subordinate guard for 8 before that. No invitee has dared to challenge him yet. Maybe it's an issue of respect. He is getting on in years. What else did you want to know? I've analyzed the region's tribe to determine how they might be useful. I may tell you more at a later time, if it suits me. What else did you want to know? It's called an autodoc. As the name suggests, it's an automated physician, more or less. He can treat broken bones, cuts, punctures, scrapes. Sometimes I bestow its use upon someone I favor. Makes for a powerful gift in a culture that forbids painkillers and is largely ignorant of medical science. What else did you want to know? I know he's a coward, hiding behind an army of robots ensconced in that tower of his like a wizard in one of those Grognak comic books. Some say he's a man, others a machine. I don't care. He's in the way. What else did you want to know? What else, then? Yeah, I want NCR ranger stations out of the picture. Here, these written orders make it plain. Good. Don't know what kind of security he has inside the Lucky 38, but if you can find a way of catching him off guard, do so.
I suspect you'll be a valuable asset to the Legion, assuming you're really on our side, of course. To call Linnaeus ferocious would be an understatement. In battle, he seizes the enemy in his jaws and will not let go. He thinks nothing of suffering losses, so long as the enemy suffers more. Though unsubtle, he is not dim. He detects traps and sets his own. Be glad you will not have to face his judgment. If you are true to Caesar. There's a gambler, Martina Grosbeck, who has a knack for learning other people's secrets and passing that information along for a price. The Omertas, who run Gomorrah, have become suspicious of Martina's frequent visits to their casino. Soon they'll pay her a visit of their own. I prefer to handle these matters through intermediaries, such as yourself. Good. Martina frequents the Vault 21 gift shop on the Strip. Hurry along, and she still may be in one piece by the time you get there.
Hey.
True to Kaiser.
It is a great honor for anyone outside the Legion to get an audience with Caesar. No, Legate Lanius is Caesar's second. The Legate replaced the Burned Man after the Legion's defeat at the Dam several years ago. The Burned Man was Caesar's advisor and general when the Legion was originally formed. The Burned Man led us to a disastrous defeat at the Dam. On Caesar's orders, the Burned Man was covered in pitch by the Praetorian Guard, lit on fire, and cast into the Grand Canyon. Caesar has forbidden us from ever speaking his true name again. And so we simply refer to him as the Burned Man. He's the best warrior in the Legion. A full legionary by the time he was 12, he's never lost a battle. Had the Legate been in command during the Battle of Hoover Dam, the Legion would have won. I have no doubt about that. I'll answer if I can. When I was a boy, the Legion conquered my tribe. I was chosen for training as a legionary. I fought in many battles for the Legion. Eventually, Caesar chose me to lead his Praetorian Guard. It was a great honor. Girls and women were enslaved, and many of the men and boys were also chosen to become legionaries. The rest were killed. We were savages. The Legion raised us up, made us better than what we were. What did you want to talk about? The NCR Rangers are the biggest threat. Without them, the NCR is nothing. Caesar has taught us that over-reliance on firearms can only weaken us in the long run. It's why we train heavily with our blades and our fists. Unlike an NCR trooper, a legionary is always ready to fight, regardless of the circumstance he finds himself in. We had the numbers, but not the tactics. I know. I was there at Boulder City when we were defeated. We relied too much on veteran legionaries for direction and leadership, and the Rangers exploited our weakness by killing our best from afar. And just about every one of them is occupied. Not all at the same time, usually. Groups of legionaries come and go all the time. This is also only one camp of many. You might have noticed the other camps down by the river. It's a tradition in the Praetorians to specialize in unarmed combat, because weapons can break or jam when needed most. However, our unarmed techniques favor offense over defense. We can charge the enemy and flatten him with our first strike before he can react. Of course, this will take some time, and I'm not a forgiving teacher. You've proven yourself to be a true friend of the Legion. We have a safe house available to our agents in the Mojave. Here's the key. It's an excellent place to rest and store extra equipment. In addition, one of our veterans, Atticus, visits the house every few days. While he's there, you can acquire items useful for stealthy operations against our enemies from him. We recently obtained an artillery weapon, but we don't have the part or the skill to fix it. The trader Dale Barton salvaged it from a military base in Arizona. Yuma, I believe. The best marksmen of the NCR are usually at the rear of any battle. The gun will allow us to strike at them. The tribe calling themselves the Boomers is obsessed with such weapons, I've been told. You could probably find a spare firing mechanism there. Wale.
What's up?
I'll head back to the old Mormon fort. If you need me, just swing by.
I can't talk to you. It's not allowed. I guess that's okay. If you're a friend, can you help me? I help take care of the Brahmin. I sometimes bring water and food to people. That's it. Anthony took Sergeant Teddy away and gave him to the stinky dogs. I want him back. Anthony said he was punishing me for trying to hide it from the Legion. Thanks. Bye.
Hello.
Outsiders are a rare sight at the fort. Step carefully around here and you might just leave alive. I'm Anthony, Master of the Hounds. Lupa. Yes, she's the mother of a lot of our best dogs. She's getting old, but she's still a tough old bitch. Aren't you, girl? Yeah. Yeah? I've been around dogs all my life. They're my life. Always were. All the way back when I was a tribal. One of the hangdogs outside Denver. Dogs roamed that city. Our tribe made peace with them. Thought they were our spirit animals. Helped us hunt. Provided for us in some lean times. Then the Legion came. Good thing, too. Stronger now. Don't need those beliefs anymore. When the Legion showed up, we fought. Most tribes did. Hangdogs hung out longer than most. Broke us by throwing our dogs on the fire. So we gave up. Our elders couldn't bear the idea of our spirit animals burning in the afterlife. Caesar was impressed enough to conscript us. Use our skills with dogs to join the Legion as hound masters. We breed them mostly, but sometimes we get some good ones from Denver. That whole city is overrun with them. Been doing it since I was a boy. The mongrels know to listen up when I start talking to them. Okay. It took years for Caesar to conquer Lanius' tribe. and Caesar showed mercy to the survivors, allowing them to join the Legion. Had the positions been reversed, Caesar would be dead. Lanius is called the Monster of the East because he never, ever shows mercy. He's a story to frighten the younger legionaries. He's dead. No man, no matter how tough, could survive a fall into the Grand Canyon. The stupid girl should know by now that even the rags on her back are a privilege. Anyway, my mongrels like their new toy. Tell you what, you square off with 4 of my best dogs. No armor and no weapons except a machete. You survive, and I let you have the bear. Yeah, I guess you're right. Here.
Hi. That's okay. I'll fix him. Can I have him now? Thank you. See you around, mister.
True to Caesar. You here to fight in the arena? Then you're talking to the right man. Such as? Light armor and machetes only. The challenger, the one who asks to enter the arena, may be pitted against 1 or more opponents. All matches continue until one side is dead. No exceptions. I set up the fights, keep track of prisoners available, and make sure the arena's cleaned up. Most of the time, it's some young legionary trying to make a name for himself, hoping to get noticed by Caesar or the Praetorians. We pit slaves or prisoners against each other once in a while, but it's not much of a show. They're usually too reluctant to kill each other. Like what? A great warrior. When he was but a recruit, I watched him kill 10 men in the arena with his bare hands. He doesn't feel pain, and he never ever shows mercy. If all legionaries were like him, the Legion would be invincible. It's not something we like to speak of. The Burned Man was our greatest warrior, even greater than Legate Lanius. But he failed Caesar at the dam. He's been dead for several years now. But the rumor is that Caesar has scouts out looking for him all the same. The Burned Man was a very tough man. That can be arranged. You will be facing off against a couple of disobedient slaves. Not much of a challenge, but it might be entertaining to watch. Remember the rules. Light armor and machetes only. And, of course, to the death. Good luck.
They hardly even know how to fight.
You like that? I'm hit. I'm just...
As expected, it wasn't much of a fight, but what can you expect from slaves? There's a captured NCR trooper available, Sergeant Andrews. He's already been challenged once and survived, so he should be a worthy opponent. Careful in there. He's tougher than he looks.
Let them fight it out among themselves. Get! Go! I'm out of here!
Hey. A good fight. Some NCR troopers can be competent fighters. I have a dangerous one for you. An NCR ranger by the name of Stella. We got lucky since we rarely capture rangers alive. Even though she's a woman, she's killed every man who's faced her in the arena. Even one of the elite Kenturians. With her bare hands. Watch out for her. She's one of the deadliest fighters I've ever seen.
Let them fight it out among themselves.
Come on! Damn! I'm hit! Had enough?
Unbelievable. You stood against a ranger in single combat and survived. Sorry, but there's nobody left who'd even be a challenge for you. Go.
If you're injured, I might have healing powder to spare. I never finished my training. The Legion saw to that when they overran my town. I do know basic first aid, but I've had to rely on tribal remedies to treat illnesses and injuries. Healing powders and all that. I'm always running low on Xander root. Plenty of Brock flowers, though. Oh, I've been using 2 roots per flower. Thanks to you, I'll be able to create twice as much healing powder per day. For sale? I'm a slave, not a merchant. I could give you some supplies every day, though. You are, after all, a friend of the Legion. What do you want to know? A small town in New Mexico. The Legion burned it a few years back. That's how I ended up here. 3 years and counting. If I could just get across the river, I'd be free. Not that I'd try it. I've seen what happens when you get caught. We're property. If you're too young or too old, the men usually leave you alone. Usually. All right. The Legate is not a man to be crossed, especially if you're a woman. That's all I'll talk about it. A vengeful spirit, some of the more superstitious women claim. He was a great leader of the Legion before he failed Caesar. The story says he was set on fire and thrown into the Grand Canyon, but his angry spirit rose from the ashes of his corpse, looking for revenge. Nonsense, probably, but there's no doubt that many in the Legion believe he's still alive somehow. What about it? Do you have some advice? Was there something else? Okay.
Hey. The camps are getting crowded.
Hey. Awe, are you ready to return to Cottonwood Cove? Very well.
Civilizing Prim will show what we can do for everyone else in these territories.
Please, sir, take pity on us. Free us, please. My family was ambushed by a pack of Legion raiders near Searchlight, and Frank ran off, the gutless coward. I have no idea where he is, but at least we're free from his abuse. Ever since he lost his job a few years back, he hasn't been the same. He took a switch to us for the tiniest things. We were trying to get away when the Legion showed up. I'm glad he ran off like a coward. But slavery wasn't the kind of escape I was looking for. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Evening.
We're being held here against our will. I beg you, help us. Sorry, I'm just glad someone is doing something. The last thing I need is to be made some Legionary's bitch and sent off to God knows where.
Oh, it's just awful here. Can't you help us? Hurry up. The guards keep eyeing me like I'm a piece of meat.
Awe, have you come to sell or trade for captures? No. They haven't yet earned the right to be called slaves. Those three in the pen are captures, nothing more. I'm a slave master, so I know what I'm talking about. Back at the fort, I'd have those three half-broken and well on their way. But this is just a holding area, so all I do is assess their fitness and decide whether to send them on. Why would it bother me to enslave these wretches? They have no purpose, no creed, no honor. They live in pitiful squalor, undisciplined, intemperate. To enslave them is to save them, to give them purpose and virtue. Honestas industria prudentia. Even the virtues of slaves are beyond the dissolute on this side of the river. It's a weak bunch, to be honest. I'd rather have extra currency to buy supplies or better captures off traders. There's a boy, too old to be trained as a legionary. Normally they would have to die, but he's too frail to make trouble. The old woman's dried up, but she could keep house or do gardening if she can learn to keep her mouth shut. The girl's the only one of real value, young enough to breed, not hideous to look at. What's your offer for the lot? A fair price. Always best to have caps on hand in case traders stop by. Here's the key to their collars. You want to take those off before you've gone far, trust me. The best cursor in the Legion. You'll reach Fortification Hill without incident, that's for sure. Wait until you see the encampment, how massive it is, and a personal audience with mighty Caesar. Glorious. I have Blackfoot in me, the first tribe that Caesar ever led in battle, the tribe that formed the Legion. If not for him, we'd still be living in tents or shacks, scavenging for food like animals, if we were alive at all. It was easy. The Colorado was narrow here, and when the profligates abandoned Searchlight, there was no one to guard the crossing. It's just a small outpost, but we keep busy. Raiding parties go out, new captures come in. Wale.
To Caesar.
When will we be free? Thank you. I don't think we'll ever be able to repay you, but we'll do our best one day, once I found a place to settle.
What's up? Let's go make trouble.
Though you aren't of the Legion, you've aided us more than once. We acquire many items on our raids, some useless to us, some forbidden. I've provided you the location of a drop box where you can obtain these items. The box will be replenished every few days. Please be aware that we'll assume any items left in the box will be unwanted and be removed and destroyed. Stay an ally of the Legion, and we will share our loot with you. If you start working against us or become an enemy, our deal ends. True to Kaiser.
You're back. What can I do for you? The Rangers at Echo have been keeping an eye on that place. It's relatively new, but those bastards have already dug in. They appear to be running a slave trading operation, and it also seems to be one of the primary crossing points for Legion raiding parties. If you could scout out the camp, bring back any intel on troop movement or plans for future raids, the Rangers could put that information to good use. Also, if you're any good at covert ops, I would love to get a bug planted on their radio. So far, we've been unable to crack their encryption. Good to hear. This is the bug you'll need for the radio. Report back if you pick up any intel, or manage to sneak the bug into their radio. Later.
Ooh, got something good for me? Is it a dress?
Ordinary guys with knives and bullets, and they're taking over Nevada.
You taught Soeros well. Soon I'll wear a necklace of profligates' toes, blown off by their own minds. Ha! The things the profligates will build to spy on us like cowards with little machines. Find that officer and give him this old map of our patrol routes. The profligates will try to set up ambushes, and we'll be waiting for them. Wale.
You're back. What can I do for you? Let's hear it. This is more than I could have hoped for. It almost seems too good to be true, but the details are all here. Looks like they're planning to shift their raids north of Vegas. I'll shift some of the Rangers and NCR patrols in that direction when they're free. Here's some caps for your trouble. You've done us a great service. Sir?
What do you want? I'm here to keep everything in order. As a friend of the Legion, I can offer you some supplies while you're here. No, there are other places that require my attention. I have some goods collected during my travels. You may take something if you wish. Take it.
Ooh, got something good for me? Is it a dress?
Hey, I can't really move now, but I'll follow you in spirit. Hey, I can't really move now, but I'll follow you in spirit.
talking to strangers in football pads. Also, Top's hotel owner Benny has been killed by an unidentified assailant. His former right-hand man, Swank, consoled mourners.
If I know my pal Benny, he's swinging with the big cat upstairs as we speak. Or he's chasing some angel broad with cans as big as her halo.
Those were our top stories. Got some deep.
You low-down snake. I wish I'd left you in the ground to rot. Draw!
SCP-38 will be your grave. I'll finish what Benny couldn't get right. What do you think you're going to do? Fight your way up to the penthouse and assassinate me?
Should have brought something to read.
Why are you doing this? Your chances of breaking through my defenses, they're minimal at best. Engaging. Think you're doing well to have made it this far?
Warning. Room breach detected. Unauthorized personnel in restricted area.
You're actually going to do this all over again? Your chances of breaking through my defenses, they're minimal at best. You've come back to kill me this time, I assume. Ironic how this turned out. The thousands of hours I spent calculating odds, running projections, planning for every contingency. Only to be done in by a mail carrier with a grandiosity complex.
Why have you done this? Centuries of preparation. So much good undone. Slavery. The future of mankind. What have you done? May there be a hell for you, a Tartarus, bleak, unending.
If this statement is being broadcast, I am deceased. Please approach a Securitron and take one of the printed obituaries.
You can't help but notice that the Brotherhood barely exists to these people out here. We're like an urban myth, no real presence on the outside. We just don't adapt like we should. Used to be that all you needed to get your way was a suit of power armor and a laser rifle. Now, people are armed and organized. They're not afraid. But we still stick to our old approach because it's all we know. I think you're right. We're getting desperate. Hardly enough people to sustain ourselves as a chapter. They'll see the light, sooner or later. But I get the feeling if I don't take matters into my own hands, the change won't come in time to make a difference. This better not be about the meaning of life. Yeah, it's not for poker. I've never seen anything quite like it, but I can tell you it looks like it was fabricated before the war, and not at a mint. Some kind of tech. I'm gonna say mid-2200s. Hold on to it. Might be your lucky chip. Nice! Can I order room service?
I, Robert Edwin House, am deceased. Please approach a Securitron and take one of the printed obituaries.
Hello. Excuse me, but are you the courier who caused all of that trouble in the Tops? Oh, great. The followers of the apocalypse, well, some of us anyway, have been interested in Mr. House's technology, how he stays alive. Of course, no one else is allowed inside the Lucky 38, so no one knows what's going on. Well, except for you. Right. We just want to find out what sort of technology Mr. House has used to stay alive for all these years. It could be of great benefit to the people we try to help, many of whom suffer from hard-to-diagnose illnesses. Ah, I see. I suppose I can give you some medical supplies for your efforts. I assure you they will be worth plenty of caps. Great! I'll have the medical supplies for you by the time you come back. Here, take this packet sniffer. It'll allow us to intercept data on Mr. House's network. You might have to manually remove the encryption from his data network, but hopefully you won't have too much trouble. Good luck.
the heavy stuff, aren't you?
What'd you think of Mr. House? I was surprised he only had the 2 robot sex slaves.
Welcome, sir or madam. I am ready to process our transaction. Come back and see us again soon.
Hey.
You're back. Do you need medical attention? All right. Let me do a quick test to make sure your body can handle another implant. All right. You're healthy enough to handle another one. Which surgery are you considering? The optics enhancer, as the name suggests, gets attached directly to your optic nerve. The price is 4,000 caps. Have a seat in the auto dock. This will take a few hours.
Hello.
Morning.
Hi, I'm Sarah Weintraub. Welcome to the finest vault hotel in the whole world.
Well, it is my vault, all right. I mean, yeah. That is, no. I take care of it, but I suppose you could say that it belongs to Mr. House. Mr. House has everything to do with Vault 21. He tried to get us out before he filled it with concrete. I almost went ape.
So we convinced him. Okay, Sheldon and I, right? We convinced him to leave the top level mostly intact. I don't know, maybe he didn't want anybody sneaking around down there. My vault runs deep and wide. It's filled with corridors and rooms that go far. What gives him the right to screw us with the royal shaft anyway? So he saved New Vegas, woohoo! Now scram and let us go on with our lives. Sheesh. Do you mean that he's a goner? I can have my vault back? That's just super. I thought we'd never see a different New Vegas, one that belongs to the people. I see. Okay, your move. Yeah, and you gotta dig what I did with it. Looking as good as it should? Almost. It was bustling with activity. We all knew each other so well. You see, the vault kept us all even. It's all symmetry and windows down there. We solved any quarrels through gambling. Lady Luck cast no eyeballs, you know? So, nobody shafted anyone else. Yeah, I miss those days. Mitch? You mean Molebutt? I hadn't thought about that name in a long time. I was just a child and he had a big mole in his rear bumper. You understand, kids and all that. Everyone knows about each other in a vault. There's no other way. I hope Mitch is doing well. Sure, the place is packed. Usually. We get loads of NCR cubes these days. A stray Brahmin Baron once in a while, and recently circle couples shining big rocks on their fingers. Okay, how can I help you? I see. Okay, your move. No, silly, of course it wasn't always a hotel. I grew up in it. I love it. My favorite place in the world. Not that I know much of the world. I never left this place, come to think of it. But it is the most special vault ever. Sure I have. I made the scene in the strip. It's just that I really like it here. Vault 21 is a kick. Okay, you're right. I hate going outside. It's almost impossible for me to step out of here. Still, I love my vault. It's my pad. All right, what would you like to know? My vault is pure New Vegas. Everyone has a chance, and Lady Luck smiles if you play your odds right. Okay, it was like that before we had to leave. Vault 21 had very smart ways to help people get along. All arguments and fights got solved through gambling. I'll give you a quick tour of my home. Oh yeah, if you like. Rightio, Daddy-o. Let's do it. All right, please follow me. We'll head into the vault right away. This bunker protects the entrance to the vault. Solid stone outside and thick steel on the inside. Above us, there's a control center for this level of the vault's life support systems, electric grid, radioactive shields, and all that jazz. Don't get lost. My vault has many corridors and rooms, although it is no longer symmetrical after Mr. House threw us out. This is the main game hall. Here we settled the big disputes among the vault's levels. Chosen representatives gambled against each other here. The winner earned the right to settle the dispute as wished by the collective. We used to have such parties in this diner. A bitch to clean later, but well worth it. This hall leads to our guest rooms. You can use the first room on our left, but no snooping next door. That's my room. Always was. Down there is the game room. Each side of the vault had one, but the other is filled with concrete now. Okay, that wraps it up. I'll see you soon. Things are getting stranger every day.
This ain't your business. Walk off and forget you saw anything. Oh, murder business. Now fuck off or else. Shit. Look, we're just following orders. We, need to take this up with the boss.
Thank you. They were going to kill me. There won't be a next time, I hope. I do odd jobs here and there, usually helping Sarah keep the vault tidy. I came to New Vegas to be a professional gambler. Too bad for me that the professional part isn't working out so good, but I love gambling, so I'm here to stay on the strip until they kick me out. I may have overheard some things at Gamora that I passed on to the NCR. That's all, honest. What? I only talked to Captain Curtis over at McCarran. I would never work at Slavers. Honest. No. Well, not really. I mean, I'm not listening through doors or sneaking around or anything. People talk out loud, and I just pay attention. The NCR likes to keep tabs on the activities of the families, and they pay me good caps to hang around the casinos and keep my ears open. It isn't normally. The NCR wanted me to just gamble and listen, nothing else. Okay. Goodbye.
Someone got Mr. House. The strip's going to change. I'd bet on it.
Crocker can kiss my sweet
Get
Republic
out.
ass.
Get out. The fountain is for wishes, ladies.
Who wants to swim? Water's fine.
Please remove your bra from the bottom of the fountain. And gather your clothes and belongings. Ladies, please disperse.
Come on, big man. Roll up in here.
All right, ladies, show's over.
All right, girls, show's over.
Uh-oh!
Wanna dance?
This is the
Meet
law,
Gamora.
girls. Are you going to spank us? I so love handcuffs. Hello, Sparky.
All right, enough fun for
The
tonight.
fountain is a restricted area.
Hey, come on, pal. I'm trying to put on a show here. You're welcome. All right, then make it snappy, kid. This isn't exactly a lucrative career enterprise here. The name's Knight, Billy Knight. And this here's what a lifelong career in comedy will get you, oi? That's exactly my point, kid. Exactly my point! If you believe my mother since she first laid eyes on me, first thing she said was, boy, that's a funny-looking kid. I guess I got a face only a mother could love, because no one else would give me the time of day. Hey, maybe you can help me. See, I can never tell when it's lunchtime. Hey now, come on. I prefer the term outdoor entertainment bonanza. Besides, have you seen the caps whores make in this town? I should be so lucky. Sure, later.
Hey, have you been able to bug Mr. House's network yet? Good to hear. But it looks like the bug was deactivated a few minutes after it went online. It looks like House has some kind of countermeasure in place to prevent eavesdropping on his network. We'll get through eventually, just not today. Here are those medical supplies I promised. Hopefully you won't need to use them. Take care.
We've got stuff we're not even allowed to sell, people. Only at Mick and Ralph's.
Hello. Thank you so much for freeing me.
I can't ever thank you enough for saving me and mine. We're free now.
Thank you. We never would have escaped without your help.
What's up? A courier, doctor, and a cybernetic dog. After we deal with the whole imminent conquest of New Vegas problem, we should open an act at the Tops.
Sure, just don't treat me like a pack Brahmin, okay? What's up?
Back to the tomb, I suppose. If you need me, etc.